Hi, welcome to our HomeGirls, Southwest Washington, Vancouver, USA, everything you need to know about Washington and Vancouver podcast.
That's anything you need to know about real estate.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. We do know a couple other things, but today we're here to talk about real estate.
Yes. So I'm Andy Costello with Couve Living.
And I'm Shanna O'Brien, the Redheaded Realtor.
Thank you for listening or watching with us today. And today we're going to talk about top fall activities of things to do here in the Vancouver, Clark County, Southwest Washington area.
We had a stretch of gorgeous fall weather that has now been replaced by our more normal fall weather. So it's not as much fun to be out and about at the pumpkin patch as it was a week ago. But we still are interested in sharing with you what we've learned are the top activities that our followers are interested in. So we did kind of an informal poll, some of it on Facebook, some of it just chatting with people. We had about 50 respondents, and we were just going to share with you what they consider the top activities to be for our area.
Yeah, so the first one is the pumpkin patch, whether it's the Sauvie Island pumpkin patch out at Bysey Farms.
Yep, and there's Joe's. My personal favorite pumpkin patch was the Safeway parking lot when my kids were little, because that was what we called the pumpkin patch. You didn't need your mud boots, and we would go to I would like stick the kid like in the pumpkins and get a picture with all the pumpkins. It works really well, and by the time they're in preschool, the school takes them to the pumpkin patch anyway. So I don't feel like that was a mom fail at all.
Or if you're like me, you just have friends that have a nice garden, you just pick
there you go.
Pumpkin.
Pick a pumpkin. Yeah. But that was our second most popular response was that people like to go to the pumpkin patch. And the first most popular response was just getting out to look at the fall leaves, going on a nature hike. And we do live in the perfect place for that.
Yes. And since our fall lasted a little bit longer, you had a little bit more time. But don't make the mistake I made when I first moved to the area and I decided to drive up to the gorge and was like, oh, there's going to be lots of leaf peeping. And there was none because it's mostly full of evergreens. So you need to be a little bit more targeted about where you're going to go look at the fall leaves changing color. Yeah,
I think Moulton Falls and Lucia Falls are really good spots for that. I'm not speaking from my own experience because I don't like nature, but people are hiking those areas and coming back with really beautiful fall leaf pictures.
Yes. Even just driving around town, a lot of neighborhoods have some very, very beautiful leaves, and if you catch the sun right when it's setting.
Officers Row too. Mm-hmm. The walk through Officers Row, if you cross the land bridge and they have all those apple trees, that's a really, really pretty place for some nice fall pictures. Our other two options that people were chiming in with were people like to go to the corn maze, which I think is a little creepy, but to each his own. Didn't one of the corn mazes do like an MLB theme or something this year, trying to bring a baseball team to Portland?
I do not know.
Yes.
I went to my first corn maze ever this year on Sauvie Island and had a great time, and it was really nice because it was midweek. I was playing hooky that day, and so there weren't a whole lot of people there, so it really felt like we had the place to ourselves and trying to escape without hearing a whole lot of voices of go this way, go that way. And so it was a beautiful sunny day and really had a great time.
Oh, that's a good day to go when it's nice out. And the other popular event has been anything haunted. And you've got good options here in the Pacific Northwest. One of my favorite haunted things to do is actually in Portland, and it's the Shanghai tour, which is, Portland was a port, obviously, back in the day. And there are tunnels underneath downtown area, kind of in the Chinatown area. And the history, I don't know how much of it is lore and how much of it is history, but they used to Shanghai sailors. And they drug them up in the bars and brothels, and then they would take them through the tunnels, and they'd wake up at sea as a worker against their will. So, but if you want to do something in the Vancouver area, the Lantern Tour at Fort Vancouver is really, really beautiful. And I think you just did the Clark County Historical Museum, didn't you?
I did. So last weekend, fortunately had the executive director leading the tour. Great time. It was about 2 hours. It was pouring rain most of the time.
Gosh.
So rainy. I did actually have to take an umbrella, and the water was coming through the umbrella. But it was totally awesome to get a specific detailed tour of the downtown buildings. Here's some lore, here's some tales and some conjecture about ghosts in different buildings downtown. So definitely worth checking out. You do need to buy those tickets though in like early September because they sell out very quickly. The tours are only like 20-25 people, so definitely worth checking out if you are interested in local history as well as, you know, the ghost aspect of it.
Yeah, and then they also do, outside of October, the Clark County Historical Museum does neighborhood walks. So they do a walk every weekend, and they just kind of tour downtown, uptown, Arnada neighborhood, Houck neighborhood, and they go all over the place and just kind of share the history of the area, which is a really cool thing to do.
Yeah. So that's kind of our suggestions for what you should do this fall. And so we don't want to end our broadcast without talking about this week's monthly maintenance or weekly maintenance tip. And so today we want to remind you to change the batteries in your smoke detector.
Yes, and you should also check your smoke detectors and see if they're also CO2 detectors. Because if you're thinking about selling your home, depending on how long you've lived in it, when you bought it, you may not have been required to have CO2 detectors, but they're required now. And it can be a separate unit or it can be a combination with your smoke detector. So that's definitely something that's not only for your own home safety, but for your resale value. If you were thinking about selling your home, you would have to do it. It doesn't appraise without it.
And for those non-scientists out there, CO2 is carbon monoxide detector. So I was not a science major, but just want to make sure if you're wondering what we're talking about.
And apparently it's odorless. It's not like having a gas leak where you would have any kind of a notion that it was happening. It's an odorless thing, so the detector is a good thing to have on hand.
Yes.
So if you'd like to get more home maintenance tips, we've got our free guide available. Just text the word FREE to 77948. And you'll get that to download.
Yes, so we would love to have you text FREE to 77948. We have a very detailed guide for you. And also want to remind you that if you're enjoying our podcast and want to hear more, we'd appreciate your reviews on Stitcher, iTunes, Google Play, anywhere that you're listening. Anywhere you're listening
wherever you listen.
Or comments, feedback on the podcast, anything you'd like us to talk about for future podcasts. We're always looking for your feedback.
Yep, and if you're interested in the video, it'll always be on YouTube, or you can find it on both of our Facebook pages as well.
Yes, so we thank you so much for listening this week, and hope you have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.